Okay, so I figured I'd make a quick video here on the lawnmower, the razor blades that you use in your automower. As you probably know from my previous videos, I have Husqvarna automowers, but what I'm going to talk about here should apply to other mowers that use a similar type of blade, like the Works Landroid, for example, also uses razor blades that pivot on a shoulder screw. There are other manufacturers as well that use a very similar concept. So usually what will happen, in the past few years, I had my Husqvarna 315X, and that was running over my backyard, and I would basically use one set of blades for the whole season, and that kind of did okay. But you could notice, like, toward the middle to end of the season, that the cut wasn't quite as good. The cut, when you look at the tops of the grass blades, the grass looks a little rougher. Maybe it's starting to grow a little taller because the grass isn't really getting cut as much because the blades are less efficient. So, what's the recommendation for the manufacturer? Is just to replace the blades, right? And of course, they want you to buy their brand of blades for quote-unquote maximum performance. It's partly true, but it's also partly a bit of nonsense because they want to sell more stuff, right? So that what you really need to do, if you have an automower and your blades get all caked up. So for example, this is a set of 3 that I recently took off of my Husqvarna 435X that I was running, I wouldn't say all the time in the backyard, but it was doing quite a lot of work for about a month to make up for lost time while it was getting repaired. The blades got pretty caked up, and you can see here, like these two, they look kind of black. This is all from grass debris that gets deposited or absorbed onto the surface of the blade, especially if you're cutting wet grass. Some of the wet grass debris will stick to the blade, and over time it'll coat the blade edge and make that edge more dull, and then it doesn't cut the grass as well. So you end up with this. And they say, well, if it looks like this, then you got to replace the blades. Well, I took one of those 3 blades and I put it in Easy Off oven cleaner, and I just cleaned the blades. Easy Off is like a spray foam oven cleaner. You just let it sit there for a minute or so, wipe it clean. All this goop just comes right off. And these blades actually look perfectly fine. Like, if the camera here doesn't focus super well, but the edge of the blade is actually really good. So these I can reuse. Okay, so just because the blades are all caked up and they look dirty doesn't mean that they're not usable. You just got to clean them off. Now, there could be cases where the blades are, well worn out and they're caked up, in which case you clean them off and the edge looks dull. Okay, then you got to throw them out. But until that actually happens, just clean the blades, and you could save yourself a whole lot of money buying new blades all the time when they start to look bad or the cut doesn't look so great. Just clean them off. It's just like a normal lawnmower that has a normal blade. What do? You sharpen the blade once in a while to make sure you have a good, efficient cut. Same thing with these, okay? And, same thing goes for the shoulder screws that the blades pivot on. This screw here is one of, I think this one, which one is a dirty? Oh, sorry, this is a dirty screw that came from one of these two, okay? And, it's really the screw head that gets dirty because this thing mounts up in that little disc that these go onto. But the shoulder was clean and the threads were clean. But even if it's dirty, just put it in oven cleaner or some other kind of cleaning solution to get all the gunk off. And if the threads still look good, and if the screw head still looks good, like it's, this one I cleaned, it looks decent. You could reuse this. And why would they tell you to use brand new screws? Well, it's not like they put thread lock on these, so you could reuse them, right? It's not like there's any solution or any glue or anything that's on the actual threads that's getting worn off. These are just normal metal screws. So if you're gonna burn through razor blades and screws, you're just throwing away metal. It's a waste of resources. So anyway, just a little tip for you guys: if you have automowers, clean your razor blades. Yes, replace them when they get worn out, but also clean them, right? Don't just treat them as disposable once they're dirty. I have a whole set of dirty blades from past years that I'm going to go and clean and actually see how many of them actually really were worn out and how many of them can I reuse and save some money on. So yeah, that's it for now. I hope this helps you guys, and just give you a little bit more zoomed in view here. See that? That's the clean one. And let's see, let's pick this up. That blade is perfectly sharp. See, on both ends. This is their endurance blade, which really just puts a razor blade on both sides. Okay. Their normal blade is just a sharp end on one side, but this one has it on both sides, I think. Or something like that. Anyway, I think the endurance blade maybe has the razor blade over the full length. Either way, it's a perfectly good blade. No problems, right? This one is all dirty and caked up. And it's from the same exact set, right? It's just this one I cleaned. So, yeah, that's it for now. Thanks for watching.